my God, folks are here in San Antonio for Monday Night Raw.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, one and all. Welcome, bro. What up, Tone? Good to be here. Hail to the chat out there. Everybody watching, either now or in the future. Tony and I are going to do a Raw review. We're going to do a live Raw review today. It's Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. Is it like too cliche to say it's Revenge of the 6th?
Probably. But
Okay.
let me tell you something, too. Raw last night, I would give it a good 4 out of 5 with an A+ rating for the second half of the opening of the show. In fact, for the entire opening, I'll have to give it a B-. And it's sad because Paul Heyman really brought that average up and Jey Uso really brought it down. But we'll get more into that in a moment. Man, why couldn't we have gotten episodes of Monday Night Raw like this leading into WrestleMania?
The build to WrestleMania was so lackluster. The show last night, like I said, I didn't get to watch the whole show. I watched the highlights. And I watched a couple ancillary videos, that they have, highlights, clips on Twitter and such. But the tone of the show looked good. I do have some points of contention with a few of the matches that I saw, just spots. One in particular, of course, it's a women's match. But then again, I'm a little bitter, Tone. A woman ripped my ear in half.
Yes.
I'm even more misogynistic now.
That's what happens. You lend an ear to these females and they'll tear that shit up, dude.
The attack on my life has left me permanently scarred and disfigured. Yeah. As if I wasn't fucked up enough looking as it is. Now I'm walking around with just earrings in my right ear. I feel like George Michael.
What you want to do is put that other headphone down on the ear so it gets all moist and sweaty, and basically you develop an infection in your ear. That's what you really want. Then you can garner that sympathy as you turn babyface.
I told you about the promo I'm going to cut. Didn't I?
Yes.
With the ear? Yeah, I told you about that yesterday. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do that. The OJ promo is a go, and I'm wearing the OJ jersey when I make my entrance Saturday.
That's
with
great.
a sign that says if I didn't do it, but if I did.
Yeah. If I did,
so, this is the way I would have done it. But how we did it last night in Omaha, Nebraska, to segue into Raw, at the CHI Health Center, Cinco De Mayo Mayhem show here, folks. I don't really... Was El Grande Americano on the show last night? I didn't see him.
He was. And big ups to Omaha. It's been quite a few years since Raw has been there, so the fans in attendance were definitely enjoying themselves. I gotta say though, so technically the show began with a recap of last week with Sami Zayn and getting beat up after turning down Seth Rollins' offer, and I believe it was either Jim Cornette or Vince Russo who were talking about the logic last week and how Sami Zayn knew he was going to have to deal with Braun Breaker if he turned them down, and still he went out there in street clothes instead of ready to fight, But yeah, we went through that. Then we went through the obligatory showing all of the stars that are going to be competing in the ring or having some prominent place in the show tonight, walking into the arena, of course.
Of course.
Yes. But then we get what felt like 20 minutes, but was probably closer to about 10 minutes of yeeting, because Jey Uso isn't great at cutting promos. He's definitely over. I'll give him that. But he doesn't have the ability to do what Paul Heyman does and keep the audience captivated while he is on the mic. So Raw officially, after all the intros and all that, begins with Jey Uso standing, basically in the hallway of the arena. That way his music hits and he starts coming down the stairs through the audience, gets into the ring, and is just yeeting for 5-10 minutes. The music finally drops. He grabs a microphone, looks around, and tells them to play his music again.
He's
and
been
they
doing
start
that.
yeeting again.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
Sorry to
I
interrupt.
definitely have. No, it's just like, again, he's over, and that's got to be really fun for the live audience, but that's something, I don't know, I kind of feel like you should do when the cameras are off after the show.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to start the show off with them, kind of have them yeeting whatever as you're recapping last week. You show the people walking into the arena, and then we just cut to the open of him already in the ring partying with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of it. Because it really, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't want to watch a fucking 20-minute entrance.
As somebody who admittedly, and I've told you this, my entrance, I always drag that shit out. And it's not really intentionally, but it's different for a heel and a baby face, kind of, but it really isn't. Because I like to get my heat before I even touch the ring. You know what I mean? And the for me to drag it out and make it methodical, and that's what Jay does. But he's getting his flowers.
Weekly television.
It is.
Like,
it is.
I don't need to spend
a pay-per-view thing.
Yeah, I don't need to spend 45 minutes, an hour out of my month watching Jey Uso eating. It's just like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
If you think about the time that they take up on the TV product with that, okay, where the music stops and then they start and then they do it again, it's like, dude, between that and all the other bullshit that they do, you could get another match in there.
Yeah. And
or
that's
a
what I'm saying. There's so much talent.
A meaningful segment, like a backstage vignette, anything other than him just going.
Exactly. There just isn't, there's so much talent that isn't being, and actual talent, people who could make good time of their television time that aren't being presented for this. And again, he's the champion. I get it. He can spend the time how he wants, but it's not, back in the day, Shawn Michaels coming out, Undertaker, Steve Austin, Angle, whoever coming out. You're excited they're coming out, they're starting Raw, but it's because you want to hear what they have to say. You want to hear their reaction or something. So, point is, he eats for 10, 15 minutes. The entrance in total, probably about 10 minutes. And then he finally, after he has him play the music again, he takes the mic and calls out Logan Paul, except Logan Paul doesn't come out. It's Paul Heyman. So Jey Uso basically tells Heyman he's got a lot of balls to get in the ring with him after what Heyman did to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And this is where Paul Heyman, and Jesus, man, that spray tan, like it was bad, especially the line between his neck and his face.
I was going to say, I really noticed that in the promo, because the more animated he got, the more red he got. You know what I mean? You could see he was getting red under that spray tan. And
sweating, running out of breath. Like,
it was,
but
Heyman was good. Everything he said was fucking money. Like,
it was an amazing,
Oh, I was just going to say, this is the thing with that. Within his promo, with Paul Heyman's promo, is I know is it Russo that kind of makes, or is it Cornette that just makes fun of him now? I think is it Russo? I can't remember which one.
I know he hasn't had the kindest things to say about Heyman, but he also understands. I mean, Heyman's easily one of the top promos in the company, if not the top. Like, Heyman understands the psychology of a promo and how to garner heat and work the audience. So, Yeah, basically, and that's what happens. Heyman's like, whoa, what I did to your cousin. He's like, I literally just wanted to walk by the side of my best friend as he lives a dream of main eventing a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He's like, and basically Roman Reigns took issue with that. But he's like, look, from this end, all right, I've spent 5 years building Reigns up as a champion, only for him to get distracted by who? Seth Rollins at WrestleMania and lose that title to Cody.
Yeah.
After that, he left me alone with Solo, with Tongaloa, with Jacob Fatu. And when he did finally return, it wasn't to help me. It wasn't to save me. It was to get his Ula Fala back. But I'm the scumbag. I'm the betrayer. And at this point, he's screaming. There's shit coming out. His eyes are on fire. And Jey Uso's just kind of sitting back because there's no way Uso can match this type of energy.
God, no.
Not on the mic.
No.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's what happens. Fucking Heyman goes off on Jey in what I consider an A+ promo to probably a D+ opening, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then Heyman basically tells Uso the reason he's actually out there. And Heyman's starting to stumble over his words at this point after going off. And, you know, that was him explaining why he betrayed Punk and Roman Reigns. You know, that was the big reveal as to why I've aligned myself with Seth Rollins, with Braun Breaker. But he says he's out there tonight on behalf of Seth Rollins to challenge for the world title because Jey Uso, he's got the title, but he doesn't know how to wield that power. He doesn't know what to do with that power, unlike the Visionary. And Jey Uso accepts. He told him, look, Rollins beat Reigns and CM Punk at WrestleMania, so he wants that title. And he told Jey Uso, you name the time, you name the place, but we're coming for that title. And Jey Uso's like, you obviously don't know me. He wants this title? Tell him I'll see him tonight, basically. You know, given that workhorse, that willing to defend this title at any time kind of aura to Jey Uso. He wants this title, tell him tonight. And I don't know what's going on backstage, but obviously they were building towards Jey Uso and Logan Paul. And for whatever reason, I don't know if Logan Paul has something on his schedule or if there just wasn't room for this match, which it's the World Heavyweight Championship, so that's not speaking well, but it feels like we got this match tonight because they originally had the World Heavyweight title planned for Backlash and it got bumped. But I'll tell you what, Paul Heyman's done very well at building up individual wrestlers, and, you know, and we all know that, but it's the World Heavyweight title that really needs to build up. And we spoke about this a few weeks ago when this new dangerous alliance was first beginning to form, how Seth Rollins was the first World Heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
But now in this angle, in this context, I think that title needs to go to him because I really feel like that title can be elevated by Seth Rollins holding it with Paul Heyman at his side, and that title will begin to gain more respect. And if that happens, it makes it all the more plausible that, yeah, John Cena is going to leave with the WWF Championship and be the last champion on that end. Now, I doubt that's going to happen, but if it does, you're going to want your World Heavyweight title shining bright.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and this is the thing. It's funny we're talking about Seth Rollins like this now. You know, we're like, he kind of has to win.
Yeah.
Because if you're rolling, if you go to one title now, which is what they should do, and it should be the world heavyweight title. I'm sorry, it should be.
And they did a great job of building this up as well. That's kind of wrong to have Jey Uso lose the title on his first title defense, but if there's a winner in this, it has to be Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Or everything you've built up in the past few weeks just falls apart. Any credibility this new heel stable has falls apart, which we'll get to that later, but in my mind automatically thought, okay, this is going to turn into an angle somehow. We're probably not going to have a clear-cut winner, but we will get to that later. We do go to our first commercial as Penta makes his entrance. And then we go backstage where Paul Heyman, still out of breath, still sweaty, just kind of talks up Seth Rollins to Braun Breaker real quick. And it was like, look, you know, this ain't a walk in the park either. Jey Uso tapped out Gunther, of all people, at WrestleMania, so we need to be on our A game. But that being said, Jey Uso isn't in the same league as Seth Rollins, so we need to handle business tonight. And then we go to the ring where Penta is going to take on JD McNo-Shoulders as kind of a follow-up to last week where JD McNo-Shoulders returned and helped Dominic Mysterio retain his Intercontinental title. I think the IC title was on the line against Penta.
It was.
Yeah. So, and yeah, Penta ends up defeating JD McNo-Shoulders with the Mexican Destroyer within it was a couple minutes, you know, bit of a forgettable match, but it's always fun watching Penta do his thing. And there was interference from Chad Gable, who came out. Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, Penta and McDonough, I just threw that together. That's what I was working on. Honestly, dude, okay, I know we rip JD McDonough a lot. Like, we give him a lot of shit, right? He doesn't have shoulders, though. It's kind of weird. But I got to respect the guy for coming back from that nasty-ass injury, which was his fault for doing that fucking spot, you know?
He mentioned he only has one lung as well. I think I heard the commentators mention that last night, and doing what he does with the one lung is spectacular, but it's like, dude, get on the shoulder press, motherfucker. You fucking overgrown hornswoggle. Anyway.
But, I mean, the styles for these two together, like, I'm not a fan of his, you know what I mean? I respect the work. But
JD McDonough, if I were in charge of WWE, I'm sorry he never would have been signed in the first place. But that's just me. Like, he doesn't look visually appealing on camera. The photo you're showing right there, exactly. Like, no one's gonna take that serious. Yeah. Like, it's weird. It's like you cut off Karrion Kross's head and put it on fucking, I don't know whose body, because Billy Kidman is more ripped than that. It's like you cut off fucking Karrion Kross's head and stitched it onto a fucking 13-year-old boy's body. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
He's very fucking small, and like he just has a slight
unproportionate.
Yeah, it's like his head he's got, and I feel bad we're just dogging on the guy. Like, this is shit he can't change, but he's just an odd shaped man.
Well, it can if you exercise correctly.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
it's really weird. That's what it is. It's like you fucking slice off fucking what's his name in AEW, Big Billy or whatever the fuck, Big Bill. Yep. You cut off his head and stitched it onto Adam Cole's body. Yeah. So So also something else that happened in this match, by the way, of course, the Judgment Day was up to their antics, and to further push the storyline going on in the Judgment Day right now with Finn Balor and Dominic and everything, Finn Balor did go to help JD McDonough and was caught by the referee and was ejected from the ringside, which, you know, can play into, well, that's one reason McDonough lost. So, Michael Cole and McAfee put over JD McDonough's toughness following a lung injury he suffered in late 2024. And now his nickname is the Iron Lung. And they also questioned whether Balor intentionally flubbed his interference spot to leave them high and dry. So, next up, Austin Theory makes his return to television. I haven't seen Austin Theory. Granted, I don't watch every episode of WWE, but I haven't seen Theory on TV in a minute.
He was on SmackDown. What was it, like a couple weeks ago, right? Him and now I've seen it was before. It was probably before WrestleMania. But I mean, dude. This guy has been, I mean, after being basically like Vince's like golden boy, like, and I'm not speculating or anything. You know what I'm leaning on here, but I mean, Vince was very high on Austin Theory, you know, and he was. I mean, that was his guy, and he just fucking up and disappeared. Like he was just nowhere to be found. And then he's in this A-Town Down Under tag team with Grayson Waller, and they were SmackDown tag champions for a minute. They really have done nothing but tease them breaking up for God knows how long.
Yeah, that's been stretched out too long, and I think there's a larger narrative here of like Vince McMahon pinpointed Theory to be a big star one day. And when you look at the booking of Roman Reigns since Vince has been gone, I mean, even leading up to WrestleMania, The Rock overshadowed Roman Reigns. It was more about The Rock versus Cody than Roman versus Cody. Yep. And then he's more or less been booked like shit since he dropped the title. And then you look at how they're doing Austin Theory, which, Austin Theory has a long way to go. But there's still potential there. And like you said, how long have they been teasing the breakup between Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, which plays into tonight because Waller was supposed to have a match. Waller was supposed to have a match, and he basically pushed it off onto Austin Theory. But they didn't know who Theory was going to wrestle. It's a mystery opponent, right? So they go out to the ring, and we get the return. Hasn't been around since the Royal Rumble. We get the return of the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, who proceeds to come out there and basically brutalize Austin Theory. And through the match, Austin Theory's like on the mat, fucked up, and he's crawling towards Grayson Waller, like, why? Why would you do this to me? You know, like, you offered me your match. Why would you do this? You know? And they were playing that up on the commentary as well. They were really pushing what an awful partner Waller has been to Austin Theory. But again, it's something they have been teasing for months now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dude, it's like, okay, with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, dude, it's just like, no, does anybody really care? Okay. And you're trying to make us care, and I get it, and I do appreciate that, because I think the two of them are talented. Like them or not, they're both talented guys. Austin Theory looks like $1 million, but there's nothing else there. You know what I mean? Like, he's talented in the ring, but as far as like a character goes, what is he? What is his character?
I think there's something there. It just needs to be brought out of him. And again, bringing it back to Paul Heyman, you need someone like that to hone in on his skills and bring them out. It's there. He just hasn't focused on the strengths yet. But I do think there's something there with Austin Theory. And look, that's not to say he's going to become a big deal one day. There's been 100 guys I can think of in the past decade that have had skill. It's just not brought out of them. It's not extracted and put on the forefront. And they end up getting their release, Austin Theory needs to be nurtured and watered and plenty of sunlight, and he will bloom. But it's just a question if WWE is willing to put forth the effort and the process of making it happen, which again, he's a Vince McMahon guy. Vince was kind of pushing him with that, giving him an unjustified push, including defeating Cena at WrestleMania, which ultimately led to nothing. Money in the Bank winner, which ultimately led to nothing. But I don't think it's Austin Theory particularly. I mean, it is, but also we need to bring out the traits in him that are going to make him successful.
Well, there's like I said, there you said it too. There's something there. This kid's got. How old is he? How old is Austin Theory?
I think he's like 24. Let me check.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? He's a fucking baby.
27. He was born August 2nd, 1997.
He's a baby.
Yeah.
He is an absolute
Like he was
baby.
on his mom's tit during the Montreal Screwjob. Like,
literally.
He grew up idolizing Cena,
Yeah. Yeah, and then he got to go over Clean It Mania on him. No, there's something there with this kid. Like I said, I don't like the direction he's in now. I think he could. You know who he honestly reminds me of is kind of what's his name? Shawn Stasiak. He reminds me so much of Shawn Stasiak. It's not even funny, dude. You know what I'm talking about? Remember Meat? Shawn Stasiak, Stasiak's kid. Yeah, he fucking had a look like he, was a star. His work was just middling at best. Austin Theory is a better worker. Don't think I'm saying that they're the same level of work. Stasiak wasn't a terrible worker. He was serviceable, but he was never a star. Austin Theory could be a star, but yeah, Paul, he needs a manager. He does. He needs a manager. It would take a lot to turn him babyface, but if Grayson Waller's the natural heel out of the two of these guys. Like it really comes through. So if they do break them up and you give them, some substance to it and kind of they need a title involved in that feud to make it. Yeah. But you have to build him up before you give him a fucking title, even a mid-card title.
Honestly, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I'm hoping they add more to this new alliance of Paul Heyman's and Austin Theory. I mean, it would do no harm if they put him with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, I think that he could. Now, are they going to do that? Probably not, but do I think it would significantly help Austin Theory, make him kind of the Randy Orton of the group compared to Braun Breaker's Batista? Sure. I think that would work. I really do. But again, it needs to be brought out of him, and right now it's not. Someone who is coming into their own a little more is, now it's still not, legendary promos, nothing like that, but Lyra Valkyria. I think her feud with Becky Lynch is doing some good for her. It's allowing her to develop more of a personality on camera, and she's known now as just more than that short girl who, you know,
We just
holds
call her the bird.
Intercontinental title.
We
Yeah.
just call her the bird bitch.
Here, can I share a
Mm-hmm.
Now, for as short as she is, this is something like not surprised to see it, but bro, look at those lifts.
Holy
look at
fucking
those lifts.
shit, dude.
That's like a good 5 inches, 6 inches.
Oh my!
And Becky Lynch is still taller than her. Lyra Valkyria, she's got to be 4'10" or something, dude. Like, she is very, very short. Look at those lifts when she steps up against Becky tonight or last night.
That's insane. I did not notice that.
Yeah, like that's the lifts are as tall as the boot itself.
Yeah. Like, okay, and like I said, I don't want to just insult her, like, you know, like, because I know I go hard in the paint on Lyra Valkyria, and Kasey did the hot take on her last night on the show. Actually, that was the Kasey's hot take segment. It was on Lyra Valkyria. I think she's she seems to be an incredibly sweet young lady. She does. You know, I think she's probably genuinely a sweetheart. She's good in the ring, but her shit looks all like aggressive gymnastics and tumbling. You know what I mean? As far as a character goes, she's the bird lady. You know, Becky Lynch's, you know, Nepo hire. They had to put her in this program with Becky. They'll take the title off of Lyra, put it on Becky Saturday. That'll put some weight behind the title, Becky Lynch carrying it. And then they'll have their rematch down the line, and Lyra will win it back, and giving her a little more. What they hope for is a push from the crowd. If they, you know, give her that chase again as the babyface, going after her mentor, the heel, Becky Lynch. But she is diminutive in stature. You are absolutely correct, Tony. I mean, you know, she's got and I'm saying that she has a really nice physique for a wrestler. She does. She's very athletic looking.
She is. I mean, these wrestlers keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Like, if you take those lifts off and throw her in the ring with a Nia Jax or a Rhea Ripley, it's two completely different types of woman. Like, there's no conceivable reality where she should step up to those types of people. It's kind of like, you know, we're watching Roxanne Perez and Rhea Ripley last week, but I do think Lyra's even smaller than frickin' Roxanne Perez.
She is. I want to see them standing barefoot to see how tall they are. Like, legitimately how tall they are.
So, yeah, but Becky Lynch, she comes out to the ring, basically does her spiel, takes credit for Lyra Valkyria's success. Lyra Valkyria comes out, says, yes, Becky Lynch broke the glass ceiling, but left shattered glass in her wake. And even though she made it to the upper echelon of this industry, she never intended on bringing anyone with her. And no matter what Becky says about Lyra, one thing that Lyra knows that eats Becky alive is that there will never be another first intercontinental champion. And that's a notch in Becky's belt that she'll never have. And it's something she can never take away from Lyra. They get into a brawl, and this is what makes me agree with you that Becky Lynch is going to win the title on Saturday.
Yep.
Lyra Valkyria basically dominates.
Yeah.
Like Becky went to attack her, Lyra reverses into a kick, then they get into the brawl. They go back and forth a little bit, and then Lyra hits her finisher on Becky.
She hit Nightwing. That's her finisher. She hit the Nightwing on her. And it wasn't bad, but did you watch how horrible her punches looked? Oh my God, Tony.
Yeah.
I was watching that.
Well, that's what blows my mind too.
It looks
you're signed by WWE and you still can't make a punch look good. It's so fundamental and basic.
You know, and it's more difficult than it seems, because I never threw great punches, and I still don't, but my punches now are a million times better than they were when I was in my prime. You know why? Because I finally got it out of my head that I'm actually throwing a punch. You punch like you're I try to punch like I'm throwing a baseball now, because you want to exaggerate the motion to make it look big. Lyra's shit just looks soft and sloppy.
Which it's a punch.
I know.
Again, you're signed by the top wrestling company in the world. You should be able to throw, and if not, you need to get into that performance center and throw 100 haymakers a day. Just practice over and over and over and over until it looks right.
Yeah.
That's for all his faults. The Rock always had some pretty good exaggerated punches, you know.
Oh, dude, they were absolutely. Oh, what do we got? Is that a bot? It looks like a bot. The channel was started on April.
I don't. Let's see.
The channel was started on April 18th.
Rhea Ripley Women's Championship Backlash.
And he says his name.
I don't think it's a bot, dude. What's up, man? What's up,
bro?
Maru, Malaysia, Johor YouTube video live.
All right.
What's up, man? If they start plugging some weird shit, we'll
yeah. I couldn't. You know, when it comes in like that and they start like spamming the chat at first, you're never sure.
Yep.
I should be after this long, but no. This segment, like, I don't think it should have ate up that much time either.
Well, and here's the thing. This is the woman's block of Raw, because immediately after this, and it did take up some time, immediately after this, we got Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez, which, basically your basic match. It's what you would expect out of these two. Not a big fan of Io Sky as champion. I'm happy for that she is champion, but it's just, she doesn't stand out to me how a lot of other talents do on the women's roster. But Io Sky did defeat Roxanne Perez. And they noted in the match as well that Rhea Ripley was not there tonight.
Yep.
She was in Perth. Because they've been having each other's back the past few weeks. So,
that was
basically Io pins Roxanne, and then Roxanne gets up and wants to shake Io's hand. So everybody's waiting for it to happen. You know, the big betrayal, the double cross, especially after what Roxanne Perez has been doing the past couple weeks, you know. They shake hands, and Roxanne Perez is just like, thank you, and walks away, and she gets out of the ring and walks away.
Yep.
But Io Sky just holds up her title, and then the fans give it away. They start getting real excited. And of course, then the betrayal happens, which we were all expecting. Julia slides in the ring, starts beating the shit out of Io Sky. Roxanne runs back in, and they stomp her down. And there's no Rhea Ripley to save Io Sky at this point. So the heels stood tall. Roxanne Perez and Julia, who looks way better without those braids. I hope she takes them out soon. They beat down Io Sky. And there's not, like, I don't even know what to say, because it's just kind of run-of-the-mill what you expected. You know, Io and Rhea have had each other's back since WrestleMania. Every time Roxanne Perez and Julia tried their shit. But this time, Rhea Ripley isn't there, so the heels got over. The young blood got over.
Okay. All right. I gotta weigh in on this match a little bit. the pinfall, all the falsies in a row. Holy shit. I was watching that, and Tony, if I had hair, I would have fucking pulled it out. Because that spot went on and on and on and on. And there's the finish. It was like, that was the worst fucking finish. Like, I get the psychology of what they were attempting. It just, if they were going to do that, they should have done it. It should have been like 3. Again, Roxanne tries one, or Io tries one, Roxanne tries one, then Io gets it. Not fucking 5, 6, 7.
I know.
Jesus Christ. That's as bad as when Yo-Yo Ma there, if you look on your screen, when Yo-Yo Ma goes up to the top rope, and they're like, and Michael Cole, or should I say Maggle Cole, is like, oh, look out, it's the genius of the skies. And she stands there for fucking 9 to 10 seconds while the other girl either has to move into position or fucking stand and wait for the 100-pound fucking paperweight to jump down and take out 10 people like bowling pins. Yep. I get so sick and tired. It's like, I don't mind women's wrestling. I like it. Number one, it's there's a lot of talented women. Okay, there is.
These are things you could. These are criticisms that could be levied at men too who do this. It's not
absolutely
specific.
Absolutely. But with the women's, I want to know who agents this shit. Like, who is the agent for this match? Who is backstage? The agent for this? Did they come up with this fucking finish on their own? Like, did these two fucking, is this literally what they came up with for the finish? Because Jesus, God in heaven, don't ever let them call their own fucking finish again. That was, I mean, like I said, you could have done it, but it's supposed to be sudden when it's like that. Not God damn.
I know.
That's any finish that's drug out like that.
It goes to the bigger issue of like not protecting kayfabe anymore. Yeah. I mean, and so much falls apart without that. So, what I did enjoy?
What?
Next we have Otis versus Rusev, and Rusev's new entrance is badass. Like, yeah, for those who haven't seen it yet, maybe they have it on Twitter or on WWE's YouTube page. His new entrance is just wonderful. Like, everything goes black, and this is something I can give him credit for. With, like, I miss the old stage setups and actual props and stuff. Just having screens all over isn't always the most creative or funnest way to present wrestling. But man, they make use of the screens here. The arena goes dark, and you just get that vicious image of Rusev, like that close-up of his face with his eyes staring, and the picture's all distorted and filtered. And everything goes black. And then just the screen lights up with that freaking image of Rusev just looking scary. And you just see his dark, shadowy silhouette standing in front of it, in between his eyes on the screen. And then the lights come up, and there he is, just this Bulgarian beast standing there. And I mean, as far as, like they talk about with The Undertaker, like the psychology of his entrance, and he gets in his opponent's head before he even gets to the ring, that's very much what this entrance is, and it's great. Like, I really enjoyed this entrance of Rusev's. Because he came back the night after WrestleMania, and he just kind of appeared after, the Alpha Americans, or whatever their name is.
Alpha Academy.
Alpha Babes, now that they're with Maxine Dupree, I guess. The Alpha Babes. Yeah. They got destroyed by Rusev, who just kind of did a run out and beat him up. And then last week, they did a pre-tape vignette with Rusev. So this is the first time we actually got to see his entrance, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, there it is right here. I've got it up on the screen.
Yes.
I'm only playing a couple seconds at a time, though.
Yes, dude. I mean, it looks so good.
Yeah,
it looks so good.
I like it. I like it. He's this is a guy that they really fumbled years ago, like severely fumbled him. You know.
Yeah, he's been fumbled everywhere he's gone so far.
Yeah. I don't.
And it sucks because he's a great old school heel.
Dude, this guy is a straight up throwback.
And honestly, he looks in better shape now than ever.
I think he is. I think he's more lean now. Yeah, he does. Rusev looks good. You know, it's good to see him back. The guy, like, if you took him in a time machine back to 1986 and put him in the NWA with Ivan and Nikita, motherfucker fit. Boris Zukov, he'd fit right in. Nikolai Volkov, he'd fit right in. I mean, he is. He's got that great heel, that fucking look, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a monster.
Yep.
Yeah, and as a heel, man, I appreciate how effective he conveys with barely any verbiage at all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the match with him and Otis, this is just two big meaty men slapping meat.
Yep, and that's exactly, dude. That was a lot of meat in the ring, and you know what? Say what you will about Otis, it was fun to watch. What culture WrestleLamia would call big sweaty muscle men. Vince's big sweaty muscle men. It was fun to see some fucking meat in that ring, especially after Io Sky and Roxanne Perez, just to see two behemoths just smash into each other. You know, and another thing, you know, they really built this up. They showed a tail of the tape a couple segments before this. And, yeah, I mean, obviously Rusev is going to go over. It's his first match back. I don't think anyone, and it's Otis. You know, Otis is great at what he does, but he is the mid-card comedy act, unlike MJF. And Rusev is coming back. There ain't no comedy. There ain't no flub. There ain't no bullshit. He's here to kick ass. So I think it was apparent to everyone that Rusev would be going over on this, and he did with the accolade. And of course, then I can never remember Homeboy's name. Who's
Akira Tozawa.
Tozawa, yeah, the same guy who got beat up and couldn't get in the Rumble, so I Show Speed took his spot. Of course, yep. Tozawa got his ass beat here. But I'll tell you what, Otis, they played him a bit more serious in this match, and I liked what I saw. They made him a little more credible. Like, I will admit it was funny, but when Rusev first returned the night after WrestleMania, and he like took out Tozawa, and then Rusev stares at Otis like, "What are you gonna do?"
Yeah,
and then Otis just ripped off his shirt while he was looking down with this. Oh fuck, this is gonna suck expression. That was hilarious, and it was cute. It was like a puppy dog knowing it was about to get beat for pissing on the floor. It was funny as shit, dude. Like, I could go back and watch that 100 times. Like, it was funny as shit. But here tonight, it wasn't none of that. It was even Otis, just, I'm here to scrap.
Otis is underrated, man. I think a lot of people forget what kind of run he was on a couple years ago with, like, Liv Morgan. Did he have Liv with him? Was it Liv? I want to say. He had some broad with him before Maxine.
Yeah,
I can't remember who it was, but they kind of pushed Otis a little bit. It might have been during the pandemic. That's why I only saw it like on Twitter and stuff, because I wasn't watching any of the wrestling then. Because I couldn't stand it. It was like, yeah. But I like Otis, man. Otis is talented. I know a lot of people just, oh, fucking jobber or whatever. I'm like, dude, you don't know shit. Like, this guy actually is talented. He's funny as fuck. Like, that's the thing. Like, but yeah, he's got the capability to go serious when he needs to, which is really good for a babyface to be able to do the comedic stuff and then still play it straight sometimes. And you don't get that often from Otis.
Yep. So, yeah. Oh, and after the match, by the way, he beat up Tozawa, and then he put Otis back in the Accolade, and that caused Adam Pearce and a bunch of officials to run down, which is kind of weird in this day and age. Like, when someone used to get their ass beat, they used to get their ass beat. And now whenever anything happens, the officials are running down, or, you know, Michael Cole gets fucked with by Gunther, and it's like a week-long Me Too movement. And back in the day when Triple H beat the shit out of JR, he beat the shit out of JR. Then they go to commercial and come back, and Michael Cole's taking his spot, and we move on. You know, it's not like this, oh my God, the match was over and you hit him again? What's wrong with you? And that's what we get these days. And it's like Adam Pearce is screaming at Rusev, like, dude, he'll fucking destroy you, bro. Like, why are you? Yeah, it's, I don't know. I miss when it was more chaos and not so structured, where, oh my God, he's bleeding a little. Have the ref come check him, make sure we can keep going with the match. Like, I hate that shit.
It's yeah, well, it's the same thing every time. You see the same agents run out. You know, it's either Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce on Raw or SmackDown, and same thing with the backstage shit now. Yeah, a little more chaotic. So it's, again, the suspension of disbelief, the unpredictability factor. That those are things that need to be considered. And when they do spots like this, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, point is, you know, okay, so Adam Pearce is screaming at Rusev, and then we go to another commercial, and then we come back and Adam Pearce is still in the ring. So, really, it was just a segue to get us to the next promo spot, the next part of the show, where Adam Pearce calls your favorite and mine, Pat McAfee, to the ring.
Oh, God.
And then he calls Gunther to the ring, who's just coming back from suspension. And Adam Pearce basically says, this is your chance, both of you. We're not going to get physical. You're going to say what you need to say before your Backlash match this Saturday. Get your aggression out now, because this is it. You're not going to have another chance. So, I can barely even remember what fucking Gunther said in the beginning. But then Pat McAfee takes the mic, basically tells Gunther he's gotten too comfortable. He doesn't want it anymore. And McAfee's seen that for a while. And so did Sami Zayn. So did Jey Uso. And now McAfee is going to fucking basically defeat Gunther at Backlash. He made a Walter reference saying that, you know, back, you know, a few years ago when you were Waltering around to Gunther, and, you know, the fans are into McAfee. I can't stand his face. I was watching the promo, just looking at his face, like, you're such a fucking douche, dude. And McAfee was coming off like, I'm a man of the people. He shouted out Omaha's baseball diamond, which is across the street where they do the Little League World Series or whatever. He shouted out, they had a couple of Omaha State's football players and their coach in the audience. He shouted them out. and just man of the people, even though Pat McAfee isn't a fucking man of the people. He's just like Cody Rhodes, an inauthentic motherfucker who craves adoration. McAfee ain't no man of the fucking people. Not to say he didn't work hard to get to the NFL, but yeah, he's had some great, I don't want to say privilege because it's so overused these days, but yeah, like he has had, and maybe it's because of his hard work to initially get to the spot, he has had a lot handed to him. And when he's out there, I busted my ass for this, and I busted my ass for that. I'm sorry, but as someone who does bust their ass, bro, no. You played football for a living. You got to live your dream. And I'm not saying you didn't work hard for your dream, but go bust your ass doing something that you don't want to do. Go bust your ass being an iron worker and breathing in those fucking fumes and having the cuticles crack on your hands because they're so dry and overworked. And you don't know what fucking hard work is, motherfucker. And that's the truth. That's the truth. I don't want to hear you bust your ass on your podcast or you bust your ass to show up to Monday Night Raw and say a bunch of stupid shit for 2 hours. Go bust your ass doing something you don't want to do, but you have to do to survive. You know, but basically, yeah, he plays up to the crowd. I'm a man of the people, and you don't want it anymore, Gunther, and that's why I'm going to defeat you at Backlash. I hope Gunther murders him. I hope it's a squash match, because Gunther, after making him tap out to Jey Uso at WrestleMania, they really need to get some fire back under this dude. And it's such... The crowd was chanting, "You tapped out" at Gunther, which just makes him look like a fucking clown. But Gunther basically takes the mic back and thanks Pat McAfee. He's like, you know what? You're right. You're right. I wasn't in the right mindset heading into Backlash, but now I am. And thank you, Pat. Thank you. And Gunther, that's the end of the promo.
Yeah.
And I really think it makes Gunther look like a clown that they're chanting, "You tapped out" at him now. And everyone's, well, you tapped out. You tapped out. Michael Cole, well, you tapped out. Sorry, bro. You tapped out. You're a pussy. It doesn't do any favors for Gunther. And if I had to invest in Gunther or Jey Uso, I'm sorry, I'm investing in Gunther. It's someone who was overweight and worked their ass off to get in that kind of condition that they're in now.
Mm-hmm.
They go in, they work their ass. Is he the greatest wrestler ever? No, we were comparing him to Benoit the other week. He's no Benoit. But for this day and age and for what's around him, I mean, Gunther is a good, solid workhorse talent. And then you've got Jey Uso, who he's over with the crowd right now, but make no mistake, dude's going to end up in rehab at some point in time. So who's the better long-term investment?
Dude, not Pat McAfee.
Yeah, and not Jey Uso. I'm sorry, but... And again, Jey Uso is fucking over, but he's got some serious demons plaguing him. Gunther... he's overcome his demons. So who's the better long-term investment?
Yeah. Jey Uso is making them money on shirts. He moves the crowd. And therefore, to the executives at TKO, they don't care what his ability is. Gunther, no, you and I both know he's the better long-term investment because he's the better wrestler and he's the better storyteller. And you can say what you want, not you, but like because like I said, I told you, I was like, man, people think, you hear, oh, Gunther's boring. I'm like, you don't understand the wrestling business then. Like you don't understand it if you think he's boring. Like, I mean, this is just a fucking heel. That is what he's doing. He is playing a fucking heel. I don't know. But no, Uso WrestleMania really exposed that it might not just be Big Jim that likes the sauce a little bit too much.
Yeah. And look, to Uso's credit, the next match on the card is our main event. which was set up earlier in the night, which I can say that's what I like. That's the kind of booking I like. When you tease something at the beginning of the show and you get some kind of resolution later. They did it last week with Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins, and Rollins tells him, I need a decision by the end of the night. That gives you an interweaving storyline to carry you through the night rather than the type of booking they were doing before WrestleMania, where said main eventer comes out, cuts their promo at the beginning of the show, and then they leave and you don't see them again. But since WrestleMania, it's just a one-off. Like back in the day, Stone Cold would come out, say something to Vince would say something back. Then after every few segments, we would check in on Vince or Steve Austin backstage, culminating in a main event showdown of some sort, whether it's a promo or a match. WWE didn't seem to be doing that for a while. And now, since WrestleMania, they're back to it, including the first night. No, maybe it was the second week they came back and Logan Paul called Jey Uso out. And then later in the night, Jey Uso was giving Sami Zayn, this was last week actually, Sami Zayn's debating, should I join Seth? Should I not? Jey Uso gives him some love, some advice, and then Jey Uso turns around and gets knocked out by Logan Paul after their promo earlier. I like that type of booking. And it makes it feel like something's actually happening, like there's storyline progression, narrative progression. Instead of, well, I want a shot at your title. Well, come get it, dude. And then you don't see them again for a week or two. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. Kind of how AJ and Logan Paul were booked going into WrestleMania. So, yeah, they had the big promo between Jey Uso and Paul Heyman at the beginning of the show. Now we've got Seth, Braun, and Paul Heyman coming out. Jey Uso comes out and they do the whole spiel for the World Heavyweight Championship. Alicia Taylor announces them. The lights are dim. All that good stuff. Meanwhile, I'm thinking at this point, okay, neither of these guys, if either of them lose, it's going to make them look bad. It's going to halt their momentum.
Yeah.
So I'm already thinking this isn't going to end in a clean victory. There's going to be some sort of angle. And I'm like, but what could that angle be? Then it hit me before the match even started. I think CM Punk or Roman Reigns are going to return tonight and cost Seth the title. So we go into the match, and I'll give Jey Uso credit. I'll give Seth Rollins credit. This was a really good match. Was it a technical masterpiece? No, but was it entertaining? Was it after I thought to myself, there's no way there's going to be a winner? Did they get me on a pinfall or two? Yeah. Yeah, they did. This was a very entertaining Raw main event, and definitely the most entertaining since CM Punk and Seth Rollins were in the Hell in a Cell before WrestleMania, or the cage match. But even more entertaining than that. I can't remember the last time Raw had this big of a main event.
From the highlights, I watched this because, like I said, I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch the entire match yet. Yeah, dude, it looked good. The superplex spot, Seth runs up, hits a superplex on Jey, and then rolls right back up over top into the Falcon Arrow. That was a fucking gorgeous spot. I know we dog on Rollins. We do.
And he used his, and Rollins is the only one doing this right now, which I talk about innovation.
Yeah.
And how, like, someone like Triple H, he can repeat what's been done, but he'll never innovate. Seth Rollins is innovating Hunter's own move. When for the second time since WrestleMania, he countered a spear into a pedigree. And he did that when Jey Uso went to spear him last night. He countered it into a pedigree, just like he did with Roman Reigns.
That's fucking fantastic, dude. That looked great when he hit that.
Yeah. And I think this one honestly looked better than the Reigns one. Even though he only had one arm hooked, it still looked great. But one of the things that got me is Sami Zayn came out.
Mm-hmm.
And with all that happening, you know, he basically, Sami Zayn got over on Braun Breaker for a few minutes. He distracted Seth Rollins. Seth was like, what the fuck, dude? We're supposed to be friends, after Seth curb stomped him the week before. Seth turns around, has an interaction with Jey Uso, which ends with Jey Uso finally hitting the spear on Seth after getting it, you know, reversed earlier. And then fucking Jey Uso hit the frog splash. Total end to the match. Like, totally conceivable ending to the match. And I'm like, fuck, he's going to pin Seth. And then Seth kicked out at the last moment, which was great. It was. It was a very entertaining match. And I mean, you felt the crowd in that moment. Like, when Seth kicked out, like, oh, fuck, man. Like, really good. Really well booked. Really well done. And I really think the Netflix execs are in Ari Emanuel's ear. Like, dude, we invested $5 billion. This shit, that lead up to WrestleMania and shit, that shit ain't gonna fly.
No.
You gotta fucking book an entertaining show. You gotta get fucking people over here watching this, you know? And I think that's what it's been. But yeah, point is, then my suspicions were correct. Braun Breaker ends up getting back up, spears the fuck out of Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Then Jey Uso runs out to check on Sami Zayn, and he gets the shit speared out of him. And then they throw him back in the ring, and fucking Seth Rollins is setting up for the end of the match, and CM Punk's music hits.
This spot, Do we have to make Braun look like an idiot? Do we have to?
Yeah, I know.
Do we fucking?
But I mean,
it wasn't terrible. It's just
Punk
a little
had its share.
He threw it and Braun caught it. Like, why would you catch it and not just immediately swing it and just sit there and hold it and look at it? Like,
yeah,
I'm just like, man, like, I could see if like Braun ran at him. This is what Braun should have run at him. Punk ducks, turns around, bop, doink him with the fucking chair. Not, hey, let me throw. If you're gonna throw in the chair, you got to. But like I said, even that kind of like negates the Van Daminator too, which it looks cool, but it's just ridiculous. But,
yeah, it may have been better because they had Zayn's music hit earlier, and Braun was looking for him, and then Zayn jumped out from the side.
I saw that.
It may have been better to have Sami Zayn come out straight forward and then have Punk come off from the side with the chair. You know, but either way, it is what it is. Punk beat the shit out of Braun Breaker with the chair, slides in the ring, beats the shit out of Seth Rollins with the chair, clears. There wasn't even a bell ring. There wasn't an announcement for disqualification or nothing. Just that's how the match ended. And Seth Rollins tried to creep back in the ring, and fucking CM Punk swung at him, got him out and whatever, and yeah, that's how Raw ends, with basically Jey Uso, CM Punk, and Sami Zayn standing tall, and Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Seth Rollins, you know, while staring at the ring, walking up the ramp backwards, you know, to the back. And that's how Raw went off the air. But the real news happened after the cameras were off, which I don't know if you saw this on Twitter or YouTube. But after Raw went off the air, which there's absolutely no reason they couldn't have had this on the air, but the baby faces are celebrating, and Jey Uso goes around and he's giving props to everyone in the audience, shaking hands, and then he went to shake one fan's hand, and the fan knocked him the motherfuck out. Punched Jey Uso and laid his ass out cold. And then the fan took his hoodie off, and it was Logan Paul who made his escape through the audience.
Nice. I did not see that. I haven't heard of that yet.
Yeah.
That's fucking fantastic.
I'll show you the clip once we go off the air, because they'll probably copyright you for showing it, even though it didn't happen on TV.
Right.
But yeah, Fuck it was out of nowhere, bro.
That's
Jey
awesome.
Uso's just give him props, and someone just knocked him the fuck out. And, like, the audience is like, "What the fuck?" At first, like, they didn't know what to think, and then I bet Logan didn't even pay for a seat. Damn it, you're right, Jay, man. Damn it, you're right.
What up, Jay?
Yeah, Logan Paul laid him the fuck out and started running away, and Sami Zayn's like, "Hey," and jumped on the barricade, and CM Punk with an inexplicably bright red back runs over, and they're talking shit to Paul as he made his escape. Pretty fun way. It would have been a great end of the show. But they decided to push it on social media instead, so...
Yeah, I think that's a problem.
Yeah, I think they should have shown it on the show because it was, good stuff.
Oh God, yeah, dude, that's a freaking hot angle. Like, why do you not put that on television? Like,
props to Jey Uso for how he sold that because his fucking ass collapsed, bro.
So it looked legit.
Yeah. Like, again, the audience for a split second thought, like, a fan attacked Jey Uso. Like, it was like, what the fuck?
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny. I love when the fans actually get worked like that.
Yeah. So, and Logan Paul's fantastic. My only issue is, same with Seth Rollins. I mean, it is going to make Jey Uso look pretty bad if he loses the title in a quick fashion, but I don't want to see Jey Uso pinning Logan Paul. Logan Paul's too hot and too precious of a commodity to not win that title when he goes up against Jey Uso. And honestly, as much as I'd like to see it with Logan Paul, I think Seth Rollins needs the title right now. I never thought I'd say that, but with this new angle going on, they need to add another member or two to their stable, and Seth Rollins needs to hold on to that title for a little while. They need to have the power.
You know, honestly, and I know, like I mentioned this the other day, I don't know when he's coming back, but if he's back by late summer, I would add Bronson Reed. I would add if his foot heals. What's that?
He's like, I'm not big on Bronson Reed.
I know. Draven hates him. Draven hates him. I see this guy could be a mid-card like monster heel, but he needs a manager because he cannot talk. He does not need to speak.
Do you know how old Braun Breaker is?
What, 26?
He's a few months younger than Austin Theory. He's 27 years old.
Okay.
Do you know how old Bronson Reed is?
30, about 32, 33?
He's 36 years old. Like, and I don't know. I know people are like, well, look at Damian Priest. He's finally coming into his own. Is he?
Damian Priest.
Like, he's mid at best. Like,
Damian Priest has, I'll admit this, has way more charisma than Bronson Reed does. Is he more talented in the ring? Yeah.
It's like, I don't know who Damian Priest is.
I like his character. Like, I don't know what, he's just a mad bisexual Puerto Rican man. Like, I don't like get it at all.
It's like, there's no connection. And I'm speaking for myself here, but there's no. Hey, thank you, Jay, man. I hope the rest of your day goes great, brother.
Have a great day, Jay, man. Tree Rock Creations, what up, bro? The guy doesn't know how to talk and shouldn't. That's debate, dude. He's like 350 pounds, and his voice. He's a where's he from? New Zealand.
Kiwi.
He's a Kiwi. He's from New Zealand, and he's got this soft, like spoken accent. And it totally ruins any intimidation factor. And I'm not trying to knock him.
The hater brings up this point. In what world do you cut Braun Strowman and keep Bronson Reed.
I agree. I can't disagree with that. But I'm just saying, if I'm adding somebody to this stable now that needs a manager and needs other people around them, because he was going to be in the new bloodline before he got hurt, which I don't know how that would have went.
Yeah.
He ain't Samoan, but he looked the part, you know.
I just feel like upside, you're not going to get much of an upside with Bronson Reed. And especially the shape he's in and shit, and he's getting older. He's probably got maybe 4 or 5 years left in him before he's not worth much anymore anyway. And, you know, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's the next Stone Cold. I don't fucking know, but I don't think so. I think I think you would be better off putting someone like, again, Austin Theory or another like younger talent who has a big upside, who just needs to be nurtured and get that personality out of him, get him to where, okay, this is who Theory is, you know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, there are other people too. There are other people, Carmelo Hayes or something, but I don't ever see him being like world heavyweight status, but in this day and age, who knows? No. I don't know. I would rather see someone like that in the stable who you can look back 10 years from now like, damn, like I don't see Bronson Reed being in WWE 10 years from now. I just don't.
Dude. Yeah.
I wish it was a Doc Holliday accent. It's a Taika Waititi accent.
Taika Waititi. That's fucking horrible. Taika Waititi. Oof.
It's just like, again, like think of the big rock creature for fucking Thor, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like this big fucking dude, but he's like, hey mate, how are you? That's Bronson Reed. Except he's fat, not rock.
Yeah. Of course, no one but the gays can relate to Priest. Hola.
Yeah.
What up, my sketchbook? Good to see you, brother. Good
well,
to see
you feel me? My sketchbook, like Damian Priest, he's got a good look. You know, as far as not, you know, his weird gothic corsets that he wears, but like his face, whatever, fine. He's got good size to him.
Yeah.
But who is he? Like, I know who Bobby Lashley is. I know who Brock Lesnar is. I know who Kane is. Even with Kane wearing a mask and emoting through just gestures, I knew who Kane was. I know who Shawn Michaels is. I know who Chris Jericho is. I don't know who Damian Priest is. He's just kind of there. It's, hey, I'm Damian Priest. Well, who are you? The guy who wears my girlfriend's corset to the ring. Like, yeah, Umaga. I know who Umaga was. Just this beast. Now, who were we saying the other day needed to be pushed like Mark Henry or like Umaga?
Who the fuck was it? They need like, that like Hall of Pain type run.
Yeah.
Who the hell was
it? Like, I don't know who fucking Damian Priest is at the end of the day. He's just some dude that is there.
No, he's there's no, like, outside of the Judgment Day, like with them, but even then, there's no, like, we knew.
Oh, I think it was Rusev. Sorry,
it was Rusev. It was Rusev. It was because it was Rusev, dude. We were talking about. It was Friday. Yeah, he needs a Mark Henry Hall of Pain run, like where he's just destroying everybody. He needs some more width, then go full biker badass, not this goth Rican who's CrossFit to lose weight, right?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, you know who else I wouldn't mind, even though he's over on SmackDown? I wouldn't mind if they added Aleister Black into the little stable. Like, I really hope Aleister Black gets a big push, man, because I'm such a fan of, like, he's someone else who has a good look. He's got presence and aura. Like, he's doing what Damian Priest is trying to do, but correctly, with the whole kind of dark, bit gothic kind of thing going on. But then his in-ring work is fantastic. Like a lot when you watch an Aleister Black match, you're gonna see stuff you're not gonna see throughout the rest of the night. In a world where everyone's doing spears and super kicks and Canadian destroyers and whatever else, Aleister Black has a very unique move set, and I feel like that deserves to be spotlighted, especially how they just squandered him in AEW.
Well, he's a really, really good striker, and his technical wrestling ability is fantastic. I mean, yeah, the move set on the guy, it's very unique to his style, which is very non-mainstream. I would say it's like kind of unorthodox.
Yeah, but it's entertaining to watch.
It is because it's different. That's that makes it stand out more. Yeah, I watched his reappearance, his debut, I guess, re-debut on SmackDown, and looked great, but man, the crowd he came out and just kicked the Miz in the head. He did the whole deal, and then kicks the Miz in the head, knocks him out, and then leaves. And I was like, damn it. Like, I was hoping like it would go better, like it would be more. Yeah, they kind of were like, meh, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't what I would hoped for a debut. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and something else, by the way, you know how we've done a lot of the backstage, like, you've got Dominic leaving Liv Morgan's dressing room or whatever, and then Liv Morgan leaves a second later, all that background stuff. Something that was seen last night in the background was Finn Balor talking to Roxanne Perez. So take that for what you will.
That was that picture.
Finn Balor was talking with Roxanne Perez unnoticeably in the background of a segment. So
that's something that they're going to build then.
And Liv Morgan's gone for a while, and Roxanne could be a similar type to fill that role. I won't put her up there with Liv Morgan, but style-wise, it could work, and again, it would maybe even give, like, Roxanne, and it looks like she's in with Julia, but she could really use someone like a Roxanne and Raquel, and you have that big beast behind you, so you can be that little shit heel, but you've got some muscle to back you up. I think that could work.
So are they going to do her and Julia? Is Julia going to, kind of go into the Judgment Day too?
I don't know.
Because if they do that, then Finn is trying to like kind of take over, because you know what I mean? He's waiting because Liv is gone. He thinks Dom is like susceptible when Liv is gone, even though he's the Intercontinental Champion, but I don't know. And then Carlito will just go along with whatever, kayfabe. That could be an interesting thing. Yeah. I mean, it gives the Judgment Day something to do.
And it looks like, again, they're teasing something like, and if I had to guess, they're going to boot Dominic out of the Judgment Day eventually, if I had to guess. And that was something else, mind you. That's another spot we missed last night, was AJ Styles walked up to the Judgment Day backstage. He said, "How you doing, Prince?" to Finn Balor.
Yeah.
And he told
Prince, what the fuck was his name? Was Prince when he was in Prince? Fuck, I can't remember what it was when he was in New Japan.
Yeah, it was.
Was not Prince Puma? No, I don't know.
It was Prince. I remember that from the Bullet Club and shit.
Yep.
But I don't remember. It was fucking. We'll just call him Prince Ayakea.
Prince Nakamaki.
So, yeah. Point is, Dominic's going to be defending the IC title against Penta, I believe, at Backlash, and AJ Styles said that whoever wins the IC title, the winner of that match, he's coming after him. So, yeah.
That'll be a good match at Backlash.
But you know, they teased it there too. Like Dominic was like, "Man, who thought being IC champ would be all this work? I've got Penta to deal with. Now AJ Styles is on my back." And he asked Finn Balor if Balor could handle AJ Styles for him. And Balor looked at him like, "So you want me to clean up your mess?" And they stared at each other awkwardly for a few seconds. And then Finn started laughing and said, "Of course I will. I got you, man." But it's more teasing. So the way I see it is him putting the bloodline, the Judgment Day back together.
Yeah.
And kind of like reshaping it without Dominic. And maybe adding, you know, Julia and Roxanne Perez into the mix.
Yeah. Liv will be happy when she comes back.
Yep.
I wonder what they're going to do with the tag titles.
Speaking of Liv, she's actually naked on my bed right now, so I'm going to have to, yeah.
All right.
I think I'm going to have to go.
Godspeed, Spider-Man. Thank you, everybody, for watching our review of Raw from May 5th, 2025. The CHI
Hold on,
Center
baby. I'll be right back there. I'll be right
Omaha.
over.
Thank you, My Sketchbook and Tree Rock and J-Man, Cotton Ministries, Mirul, Malaysia, Johar, YouTube video live, Godzillionaire. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you're watching this on the playback, hope you enjoy. Be sure to subscribe. Patreon's on the bottom of the screen, guys. I know I haven't uploaded over there in a month. April was hectic. We'll be back. Tony and I are working on some content for you guys. We're going to start doing the Iron Man matches from WWE. We'll pick the best 5. We'll do those for Patreon, and then we will rank them live for you. So for Tony, the Wrestledouche, I am Pete Daddy Dollar from Wrestling with Horror. If we don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow. We'll catch you on the next one. And remember, it's always better to burn out than fade away. Bye.